Welcome to the Snobs Podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to the thescenesnobs Podcast. I'm your host, McManhattan, as always, every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. That's right. We own this slot. We're here back again with the thescenesnobs. I'm, of course, joined by my partner in crime, Mr. Paul Dunn.
Yes, sir.
How are you? And then, of course, we got on third mic. I mean, listen, if the guy comes around anymore, I'm going to have to put him in the goddamn credits. Like, the man. Sir Sturdy. Check out Horror with Sir Sturdy podcast and Popcorn and Pints over on his channel. It is awesome. Everything's linked below. Sturdy, Paul, how you guys doing?
Doing great. It's been hot today. It's been kind of interesting. How about y'all?
You know what? I did not feel hot. I felt air conditioning. Is that something?
That's cute. Yeah, I guess so.
Well, listen. It's either we're going to talk about this or we're going to talk the elephant in the literal room while you were outside all day. Or we're going to talk about SRD.
SRD.
I mean, we can go one of two ways.
Oh man,
Sturdy's replica dick. That's what that stands for. Everybody.
Yeah, that was just a wild, weird conversation before this. That
Sturdy sent me a gift to cuddle with.
No,
That's
I didn't.
I love it. We got people here that we love and know well, and that is Smash himself, Master Shake. Says producer, Paul the producer.
The producer.
That is right. And then we have our boy Troy.
Was good, Troy.
He'll talk.
Yes,
I would say man, but that doesn't rhyme with Troy. And you are our boy, so there you go. Works out in many ways. Yeah, go check out Troy Hill Talks. That's right. Great channel as well. I have to say, gentlemen, I am very, very excited for tonight.
Same.
We're gonna have some fun discussions. I was really excited for our 5 takeaways.
Yeah,
Man,
this is gonna be something.
It'll be something fun. But before we get started and all that, because our main topic tonight is going to be, we're going to talk about culture in movies and how it's depicted, and all different types of cultures, in racial, religious. We're going to get into just talking about like maybe even like geographical. Like the culture of like Michigan is way different than the culture of New York or Virginia or North Carolina even, you know? So it's definitely be interesting to talk about that in movies and more. So we're going to get into that. But gentlemen, I want to ask you, how's your week going? How was your 4th of July?
Mine was good. I mean, I don't do the whole BS with it, but I just chilled.
Celebrate America.
I have my reasons. No, just kind of chill. Just what the hell did we do? I don't remember what I did on the 4th. Didn't do much.
Sounds like it was 4th.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm lying. Glow golf. Did glow golf. The black.
How was that?
Mini golf with a black light is fun.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
It was fun.
You wear your very awesome Ninja Turtles t-shirt that I gave you?
I'm never gonna put that Nicolas Cage nonsense on. Do not.
Notice how he's sitting out next week too, and we're doing long legs.
But what I will say though is, like the art there though was pretty cool. The way they had the rooms and stuff set up. There was like 2 rooms, but the way they had them set up, there was some old school stuff, a lot of old school stuff, and it was just fun just to get out the house for a little bit and do something. Honestly, it was fun to do something different because usually on the 4th, well, when I drank, all you do is fucking drink and go to the fireworks. So it was cool to do something a little different. Did that, grab some food. Okay. So originally we were gonna go to the movies to watch Inside Out 2 and Bad Boys 4. We were gonna go see Inside Out 2 in the morning, but I knew I was off that day, and when we were going to the movies, I forgot it was the 4th, and all you see is a line of I can't say what I really want to call them, children.
What do you want to call them?
I'm gonna call them crotch goblins. But so right there, I was like, you know what? Because Bad Boys had already started. I was like, you know what? Or no, my wife was like, I don't want to see that movie. All them kids, and I was like, me either. Because the week before, when I was on the week before, remember A Quiet Place? So I was saying, Paul, the kids laughing behind me during those quiet parts and I'm talking. You think I want to be in a kids movie with kids in it? Hell no. All they do is they don't know how to shut up. They eat but I had a good 4th.
But you know what's going on. The movie's showing you in their heads. It's chaos everywhere.
No. So. Yeah, but I want to see it in here because we watched the first one earlier that day, and I was like, because I never seen it. I'm like, oh, this isn't bad. Now I want to see part 2. all because of you, Mick, because you guys were talking about it a couple weeks ago.
That's right. Go check
Heck
that
yeah.
out. Yeah, you know what? Actually, and Paul, what about you, man? I almost
So,
forgot you again.
so we have a tradition of going to a friend's house that there was a pretty epic party, but this year they dialed it down because the event had been getting too big to where they were having like close to 100 or more people coming.
Oh,
For a
Wow.
house party essentially. So they dialed it down. So there were barely 20 of us. So I played volleyball for about 4 hours, pulled
nice.
every muscle in my body, and then watched some fireworks.
That's intense. I can't do that
fun.
anymore. It must be
I
nice
shouldn't have done that.
in your early
No.
30s.
No. I was suffering the next 2 days, like walking up the steps. I looked decrepit.
Only 2 days? Oh man. Wait
Oh,
until you get
okay.
42
Okay,
and all of a sudden it's like 6 days like you to recover from anything.
Yeah.
You have to take like 3 hospital stays in that week. No, I'm kidding. Hopefully it's not like no, it is like I can't do that. I cannot play full volleyball. I wish I could. I'm still getting there with some stuff, but I thought that you wore a green shirt behind your green screen in front of your green screen.
Of me?
Yeah.
See, and I don't even have a green screen. That's the best part.
I know, but you're turning into one, and I love it.
Yeah. I'm the screen.
Did you recreate Top Gun, Paul? You know he did.
Get out of here.
Shirt
I
off,
wish.
it's like watch on. But you gotta have the little band like sticking out like a little bit, and you just gotta be like, knock it down because he's all of 5'2".
I should have taken
like
video
that
there,
ball.
but we know how good I am about taking videos, though. So that's probably why there's not any.
You didn't even have to remind me. I didn't remember, and you just had to throw it out there. That's on you, dude.
Listen. But the thing is now, Paul, you have your podcasting mess up.
Mhm.
Seriously, no, because I have my first episode, the whole recording thing I was telling you guys about. You have your mess up, and it's gonna be one of those things that I just say if you ever talk to somebody that wants to get into it, you gotta let them know about that.
Yeah.
Just because you're gonna mess up, and let them know to still keep going and still do
That's
it.
your tip, man. That's your tip. Don't do this. Like if somebody's asking you what's something you remember, you're gonna remember all those little things you fucked up. Like what is one of mine every time like we're talking to somebody is like it's like, oh yeah, I remember. Make sure you hit record because I fucked up that before. Had full podcasts and I'm like, oh, we gotta do it because I didn't hit record.
Yeah,
Man,
you have yours.
it's so funny. Oh, I love it though.
So
But
what
actually-
did the Manhattan family do?
We just chilled, man. My son went to his grandparents, and Tommy, of course, down there with his dad. So it's just us. I had a little fight, as couples will do. And you know, it was okay. So we didn't really. I did have some margarita, and I don't drink,
Right.
but when I drink, happiness comes out.
So you didn't have a virgin margarita. You had like a actual.
I had a real margarita.
Okay.
I had a real
There you go.
margarita. Wow. I had this bottle that says margarita on it. There is no salt on the cup. There's no just alcohol and a little bit of flavor.
Okay,
So I went with that.
That's how you do it.
nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
No. Listen, I never drank, so I was like, you know what? All you guys with your pictures on the 4th of like drinks and having a good time, I was like, I just want to do it. I just, I'm a little, I'm feeling a little good, a little toasty under the collar a little bit, and I was like, let me add a little nectar of the gods to my whistle.
Hell
and, yeah, I got pretty good. Got some good sleep that night.
There you go. I bet you did.
I'm
The
surprised.
wife didn't, but I bet you did.
That's why nobody got drunk texts. Like you guys would if I was drunk, but I was not drunk. You'll get one.
Love those texts.
What would a drunk text from Mick be to the guys?
100% know what it is, and there's plenty of people who can tell you. Because whenever I would get drunk, I would like be texting people, or I'd be calling and leaving voicemails too.
Oh, that's awesome,
bro. You're my friend.
Yes.
And then like talking about all the stories. And I always said the same thing. And that's why it's one of our shirts sold at snobsmerch.com. Is I would always go, what's the strongest ship in the fleet? Friendship. And then I'd hang up.
That's hilarious.
Or like before like the days of cell phones, like I'd be like hammered in the back of a car and somebody's driving. One of my friends, and I'm just like, it's the strongest ship in the fleet. I go back to sleep, wake up, and be like, friendship, I love you.
All right. Oh man.
Yep, drunk Mitt. Yep, not the largest, the strongest ship in the fleet. It's friendship, but it does have the largest heart. So we're both right.
Boom.
We're both right. Teacher smash. That's what I'm gonna start calling him now. I'm gonna call him Teacher Smash. Oh wait, that sounds like he's smashing teachers.
That sounds like a bad porn parody from the 80s.
Exclusively hooking out with teachers.
That exists.
Not Master Shake, but yeah.
Teacher smasher.
Let me ask you guys this as we're going around, and we're going to be talking about culture and movies. I want to go around the horn real quick, and I want to start with you, Paul. What's like a cultural thing that you're really like, yeah, man, I love watching this, or even reading up on stuff like that, you know, any part of it, but like, yeah, it's prevalent in movies too. You're like, okay, I dig that, like that type of cultural thing. Sorry, I'm going to ask you the same.
I think for me, what helps capture it is if it's like, it's hard to say it without sounding awful about it, but I'd say like real racism. So I'd say like for me, like American History X, I think is very enlightening because I think it shows a good depiction of both sides of, you know, coming through, realizing they're wrong. And even Get Out, you know, I think he did a great job showing us where our culture still is today and how much we do that most people are unaware of doing. And I think that's needed, and I think it's smart. And I also think you don't need to put another culture or a different person down, because I think all of us are guilty of some type of stereotyping or racism, whether we know it or not. And a lot of times we do know it, but we, you know, typically it's almost seemed aimed against white Americans as opposed to anybody else. And I don't think that's fair, because I think everyone is guilty in their own way. So I kind of like something that's both sides are, you know, at fault to an extent.
And I like that you said Get Out, because as a white guy, man, watching that, you're just kind of like, oh shit, that's racist. Like, not saying like things like little cues and little things that like maybe somebody would say, not thinking about it. Like it was eye opening. And a lot of people, you know, white people I know I've talked to about that movie, I felt the same way. So it was interesting to see that, like, I would have voted for Obama again. I'm not saying that's something I said because I'm an American and I realize two terms are better than, and I'm saying that as important as I can right now. 2 terms, that's it. That's a great model. Put it all around the horn. But anyway,
for one
president, 2 4-year terms. Good.
Yeah.
Perfect. Let's keep it up. Let's hand it out to everybody. But so like for something like that, but I have heard that said and like thought about, and like I think a lot of that comes down to, and starting you and I have talked about it, where and it's not just white people, but there's like black culture is something that almost every other race attaches itself to. You know, it's like, I mean, black culture is everywhere. So, I mean, I don't know how you feel. Well, I do know how you feel. We've talked about it, but I want to hear what you have to say about it.
I was actually going to put a different spin from like what Paul was saying with how he brought up American History X. For me, with culture, I really like to see it in horror, which, of course, how I'm doing the international horror movies now, because I just like to see what other cultures.
Okay.
Honestly, what their interests are in horror, what their horror interests are, like, because doing the whole Backpack Must 30 now, what I've been doing is looking into like finding what their favorite subgenre of horror is for that region, for that, you know, not just for the country, but just maybe for that city. Well, I don't know if they call them cities in other countries, but for that city in that country, like what is that region? What is their favorite subgenre of horror? Because that mine is slasher. So as you guys know, I like to know stuff like that. And then to see like how they do. So, for example, we did a movie last week. It was more so like paranormal / folklore / like mythical type. So with that, and I'm like, okay, so how does this match up? How is it with like when we tell these same stories? Is it as good and all that? And I like how another thing too is I know there's certain stories that can be told kind of anywhere, but I like it when it's in the culture that it should be in. Like when it's with that, because it just feels more real. It feels more like it feels right. You know what I mean? It doesn't really feel right if you have a specific thing and you're doing it here in America, but it's known in India. And just when you're trying to do it up to the T of where they would do it, I feel like you should just do it wherever that culture is, wherever those people are from, wherever that is, because it just feels more natural. It feels better, even if the people that are the main ones, because the movie, the people that were the main ones, they were white, but they lived in this Indian, in this where they were in India, and they, they're all about the culture and all that stuff. So that I love to see. Instead of, I won't even call it whitewash, I call it America washing, to where we bring movies here and then we flip it and take all the good out of it. I hate that as well. like everything good that you loved about that movie. Like, oh my god, they're gonna make a US version. Cool, I'll watch it again. And you watch it, and just like, you guys took everything out. And then, especially if it's like something to do with that culture, and you took all that out, or what's scary to that culture, and just kind of just Americanized.
And that the thing with horror too, it's such now listen, I realize, people, I'm only talking about movies here when I say John, I'm not talking about horror in a whole, but Americans also sort of perfected horror in the movie genre, because most of it started here. Not saying that other countries were. I understand in the silent era the movies that were coming out, but it was sort of it's always been more bankable. So when I say perfected, I mean like a bankable entity in genre, so American culture is steeped in horror. That's why, like, yes, when you go foreign, like you're doing, it is mostly folklore. They mostly go with, not saying everything, but they mostly all over go with folklore of their land. There's some sort of mystical thing,
which I love it though, because it ties into, like, just think if you talk to somebody from somewhere else and they're just talking about, or I'll use my wife as an example. She's not from somewhere else, but she's Spanish, and like with the the chupacabra and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The what's the one, the lady by the water? You know what
La Lorena. Yeah, that one.
La Lorena.
That, like hearing about that from my wife, and she heard about that, like that story when she was a kid, and then seeing the movies, and the movies don't really live up, but I would like to see that culture do the movie and do it like how that story was told to them, is, you know what I mean, like that. And that's a big important thing about culture for me in movies, because the La Lloronas I've seen, they're not that good. But from when I hear again, my wife's Spanish, when she's telling me about how she's heard about it, it's so much better. You know what I mean? It's so much better. It sounds so much scarier. It sounds like a better story than the way it's portrayed in film. The way it's been portrayed in film that I've seen. Maybe it's one that I haven't got to yet that's good. But
you should check out a movie called Satanic Hispanics.
Yes.
It was made in Mexico, and it's like an anthology made by all Spanish filmmakers.
It was really good. It's on Shudder still.
Nice.
A lot of culture, within the Mexican, a lot of Mexican culture featured in that that you might like. I will tell you, for me, a lot of it, I like watching maybe like Hollywood culture. I love filmmaking, so like, or 70s, 80s New York culture is a big one.
I've heard you say that a lot about New York.
Yeah, there's something about it, doesn't matter the genre, horror, drama, action, whatever. Like, I'll watch The French Connection over and over again. Like, I love the grittiness of what New York City was. That's what I grew up in. So like that grittiness, like it's so attractive to me in a style. And like, that's the thing when I talk about Americana culture, it's not just Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's like that's what Texas looks like, though. I'm not saying the massacre part, but that's what Texas looked like, though, especially at that time. And so that's part of Americana. All these different places, these different things that kind of just remind you of what like America is. And I love that, because I've always loved, like, I love roadside shit. I love drive-in theaters. I love, like, there's so much to the Americana culture that I just, like, I'm so addicted to. So when I see it in movies, or I see movies sort of based around that, like I like Easy Rider. I thought that was a very cool, not so much about bikers, but hippie sort of cultural movie. But the bike riders that just came out, I think the story wise, the biker culture was displayed really well. I thought they did a really good job in that. So like, there's so many different ways you can go with it when it comes to culture and talking about culture in movies. But what are some things you see now that you dislike?
I mean, honestly, basically what I was just saying, to how they kind of pull things out when we bring movies here, and you pull all that good out, the culture out, and you just Americanize it, and it sucks. Also, I'll say, I feel like I don't care what race plays certain roles, but I feel like if you're playing like a specific, if you're talking about a certain culture or living on a certain culture, I feel like that culture should be in the room when you're, to at least help you get these stories together. You know what I mean? So the stories are told better and more respected, more understanding. Like the clip I sent you the other day with Denzel saying something about culture.
Yeah.
I forgot what he said verbatim, and I forgot the two people he used. I forgot but he was just saying, like, explaining two movies, and he was like, I know he can do this movie. I know he can do this movie, but he is a part of this culture, and he's a part of this culture, so it just works even better.
Yeah,
and he's absolutely right. So stuff like that, it just works better for specific stories, of course. For certain things, it doesn't matter. But for specific stories where you're talking about the culture and this other stuff, and again, I feel like you should do it. It's very respectful. You're going to get a way better movie, book, or whatever you're trying to portray. You're going to get that better because you're going to get people that are of that culture be like, they get it. This is exactly this, or this is exactly that, or hey, we do that, or hey, we, what I mean, it could, whatever type of genre. I'm speaking film, so whatever type of genre movie it is, whether it be comedy, horror, romance, whatever. But if you have that culture doing it and a part of it, like. And it may not even be the whole culture that does it, but you guys know what I mean with that stuff. And that's me because I pay attention to movies a hell of a lot more now than I used to. Not just because the whole podcasting thing. You think that would do it, but nah.
No, it's because you became friends with me.
That may have helped some.
Fair. I agree with you completely. And yeah, to add to it, so Paul, if you haven't seen it, like there's a clip where an interviewer is asking, the cast of this movie. This includes Denzel Washington. About other race filmmakers, why can't different races direct different cultures or different movies? And he answered so perfectly. He goes, it's a culture thing, it's not a race thing,
right?
He goes, Steven Spielberg could direct Goodfellas, and Martin Scorsese could direct Schindler's List, and they can both do a good job, but they both understand the culture better, and that's why they directed them. And then he talked about Black culture, and it was just really well put, and that's what got Sturdy and I talking about it. Was just like, so in situations like that, let's go with what they were saying. When is it, like you're saying, having the representation in the room, which I do not oppose. I agree. Having the representation in the room, but where are the voices? How far does it go? I guess. So do you think that it's better to have like Black directors on Black films, or white directors on white films, or not even white directors on white films? Because that's too broad. Right. I can't direct a film about an Italian family. I mean, I can't, again, going back to it, I can, but I grew up Irish, there's a lot of differences in stuff like that. But I'd love to hear you guys what you think. Do you think that there should be? Well, let me hear what you think first.
I think to an extent, I think that gets a little dangerous, because then that's some higher power deciding if you're allowed to do a movie for a different culture, and you don't know. Because there are plenty of Black directors that have done great with, if you would say, white movies, and even vice versa. So to an extent, I still would say, it's just the directing style, because every director is different. We like them all for different reasons. Some of them I will say, like for Schindler's List and certain examples like that, you need someone that's Jewish, that's involved in that grew up hearing about this, that knows, what those communities are actually about. But to me, that does get a little sketchy. With trying to decide ahead of time, being like, oh, well, we can only take this type of person just because it's about this. But I think a lot, I do think that's not necessarily wrong, because certainly there are plenty of movies that get it wrong. For me, when you were asking what drives you crazy, that last Jonah Hill movie when he was engaged to that Black woman, that fucking movie drove me insane with all the stereotypes and just how over the top they were on everything in that, to where I just thought, disgusting is too strong of a word, but I just didn't understand why they felt the need to do that, especially for a comedy, because it wasn't even funny. It was just them shitting on Jonah Hill's character the whole time, and Jonah Hill apologizing that whole fucking movie just for being, I don't know. So shit like that, no. So yeah.
See, I guess, because off of what you were saying, Paul, with the whole directors thing, I think it's more so like when you're coming up with the story and you're going to be talking about a specific culture, they don't necessarily, I don't think it necessarily has to be the director, but you should have some people in that room that know, some people of the culture that know the culture for the story you're getting ready to tell or portray. And even more so if it's based on true event, if it's based on a true story or whatever, if you're trying to tell a true story, then 100%, I think that's where it really matters. You need to have people from the culture that know what the hell's going on when you're telling this story. Because if not, you're really going to, and it's not even one of those things because you're going to piss people off. No, because you're going to be very disrespectful if you don't. This isn't just... This isn't just like you're just making just a movie. Like if you're trying to tell something, it's a real story. No. So yeah, it's really important. It's really important to have that culture in there. And it doesn't even, like you're saying, it doesn't have to be a race thing. It could be a neighborhood thing. Right. You know what I mean? Mick can tell us about New York City and New Jersey culture, ghettos better than we can. We didn't grow up there. Right. So it's like I look at it more than just like a race thing and all that other shit. It's like also like, where did you grow up? Like right here. You grew up in this corner here. I grew up in this corner here. you grew up in this corner here, so I can't tell you about there or there and saying, you know what I mean? All by so it depends on the story you're telling to an extent. And I love Troy's question right there.
Yeah,
and
we're going to do that one in just a sec, but I wanted to go on to finish up this one first.
But so I think we're all saying a lot of the same stuff though, which is awesome.
No, yeah, and I think
ways.
so too. I think it becomes it's sort of can become a bit of a pigeonholed at times, because you don't want to be a director of a certain race who directs their race's movies, trying to move up and do like bigger movies that are, because then it's just like, oh, you're known for that, or it's more sparse now. Everybody, this is more antiquated than anything. Than what I'm saying is, but for a long time, that's what it was, and that's why it was almost kind of like everybody stay in their lane, you know. But it's it is opening up more now. In fact, to Troy's question, which I'm going to pull up in just a second, more and more I ask the question: are younger movies made by younger generations now, maybe even younger millennials and down, is it inclusion, or is that just what life looks like for a lot of younger people? And with that, I'll pull up Troy's question, which was a great question, by the way. Is there such thing as over inclusion in movies? I will just say yes before I answer, but I want to go around, see what you guys say first.
I'm trying to think of specific examples, but I will say yes as well.
I'm gonna say forced inclusion, yes, because it's getting to the point to where I'll just say, just as a black man, to where it's like, okay, you don't have to throw us in everything. You don't have to throw us in everything. You don't have to throw all that. I'm not gonna name it. You don't have to throw all the extra stuff in everything. If it makes sense, do it. Yeah. But other than that, like, don't just do it just to do it. Just to be, oh well, because we didn't include these guys last time, now let's throw them in this one, and it's like, it's.
Which, it actually, like, I got to add to that point. For me, if you're pandering, it's always going to be terrible, and generally it's always pandering by today's standards. It's like it's almost like it's like Where's Waldo, but everything is in it. They're just like, now find Waldo now, because you can't, because there's too many people. It's like you're putting too much in, that doesn't make sense, because you feel like you got to sell every demographic or this, that, and the other thing, or add something, or if it's one way of thinking, it's make fun of, or if it's the other way of thinking, it's pandering, and it's just too much. Nobody's writing movies just to make movies anymore,
right?
To tell a story.
Too, with the inclusion thing, is it's like a lot of those movies that people complain about with the forced inclusion or whatever you want to call it are bad movies too. Yeah. So it's like, if you're really going to try to put this upon us to show, I don't know what they're trying to, if you're trying to show like how the real world is, we're going to see a bunch of different colors and all that. I don't know what it is, but make a good movie. If you're going to do your forced inclusions and all that, make it a good movie, a good story, and then maybe people look at things a little different. But if you're making a halfway decent movie to a okay, like, it has to be good. It can't be just decent, it can't be okay, and it definitely can't be bad.
Because if it is bad, you're not pandering to anyone. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Right. But at the same time, like, thinking about all that stuff, like, where it's, again, it's, if you want it, like, to me growing up, everybody used the F word or called people gay in a derogatory way. Like, everyone did it. And I think one of the things that really helped me to understand gay people more on that level was TV. Was when TV shows they were normalizing it, where in a world that I grew up in, especially growing up Catholic, like, it was a sin, it was bad, it was this, that, and the other thing. No, I don't think that, and that's not how I feel. But when you're a kid and that's all you're hearing, but then thankfully TV was normalizing a lot of that, was including characters. Yes, sometimes it's so over the top and it almost became cartoonish at times, but but it's still like there were a lot of shows starting to come out around that time I started questioning, like, why are we feeling this way? I don't think this is right. And then it helped me to learn more, and things like that. So I think it's important to include a wide variety of everyone. I don't even mind, but, like,
don't force it.
That's it. Just don't force it.
Like, here's another example. I didn't watch the movie. I may watch it, I don't know. But The Little Mermaid, remember the big fuss about that?
Oh, yeah, because they made her black.
Yeah. And with that right there, I'm like, that's not even a real. It's a freaking Disney movie. It's not like a real story, so it shouldn't bother you. It shouldn't bother you at all. It's not like they did. it's I don't know, man.
I don't
But
want to
something
fight.
like
I don't
that.
want to fight Disney. That's my one people I won't fight. Just saying, I would not be surprised if some PR person cooked that one up to create outrage online to get people to go see the movie.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I'm so, and that like that doesn't happen every single day. Like that thing you sent me earlier, where we talked about it, that video you had sent me earlier that we were talking about the other day. You can deep fake people now. AI can do people's voices. I don't trust it anymore unless I have.
That's true.
And not to say I don't trust you, but like anything, like I just don't trust it anymore, because like who knows, unless I was there and I saw it, and I saw a lot of shit being said by the same person we're talking about, that when you deny it down the line, it's like, no, that wasn't deep fake. I saw that. Like I saw that live. Don't bullshit me. But something like that, like where it's just maybe a picture and you hear audio, I can't trust it anremoore unless it's verified and somebody puts it out, it's and I'll do my research for it. Not saying that I don't think it's not real. I realize like this is all very secretive talk for everybody listening and watching. Well, let's I did like this conversation about culture, and we might and inclusion and stuff like that, but I do want to get to our next topic.
Yes.
Our 5 takeaways. Friend movies. That's right. All right, guys. We're gonna go down the line here. Now, who wants to kick it off? Should I kick it off? Or should you kick it off? No, Paul kick it off. I want Paul to kick it off.
I'll start with my number 5. My number 5 is going to be The Perks of Being a Wallflower.
That I have to veto that. That's terrible.
Why? Why?
It's terrible. It's just
It's
terrible.
about mental health. It's about finding friendship. It's about overcoming things.
It's the worst advice ever. Like that, seriously. That's
a great movie. What do you mean?
We need to do a topic where I'm writing that down. We need to do a topic where we talk about creepy guys in movies. There's so many. And I'm not even talking about like the real crazy perverted ones or any of those. I'm talking about like just the high school kids alone.
Jesus.
Like all of American Pie it's just cringy. I love it. It's just cringy. But Perks Being a Wallflower, noted. It is a friendship movie. So I will not veto that. But I might give us challenging powers in this one, because I know I'm going to catch them. But Sturdy, what's your number 5?
My Girl.
Wow. Okay.
I didn't expect
not
that.
see that coming.
The bees. Yeah.
Yep. He needs his glasses.
They need glasses.
I haven't seen that movie in years. I do. I'm gonna have to see it again. Soon. Maybe a popcorn and pints thing. But
Very fun.
Yeah. My Girl.
Watch the second one too. I don't know why, but I read the novelization of the second movie in like the 6th grade.
I didn't even know there was a second one. And I don't think I need
the
to see
second
it.
one. Oh my god. It was not as good.
Does he come back?
This time it's wasps. So
This is
it's
Murder Hornets. All right, number 5 on my list is Tag. It's about a group of friends who have been playing tag for 30 years and they still play. And I absolutely love this movie. I thought it was fantastic. Everybody got along real well. It was funny. And it's based on a true story about which is 5 friends have been playing tag for 30 years. They still do. And every time they're all in town, it kicks back up. So I dug it. All right. So what's your number 4, Paul?
Let's see if you veto this one. This is going to be Stand By Me.
No, that's a great friend movie.
Good one.
It's a very good friend movie. Of course.
That's my number. That's actually my number 3.
You'd be surprised what I veto. You really will. Well, what's your number 4, bud?
Let the Right One In.
Okay.
Wow. Is that
I like it. Hell yeah.
Movie? It starts friendship, and
Listen,
she's just kind of, well, I mean, he does it because he loves her, but yeah, wow.
I love my friends.
It's a good one.
But I like the foreign one better.
Yes.
But yeah,
Let
the
Me
Right
In
One In.
is the original, right? Yeah.
Or Let Me. I think they're both called Let the Right One In. I could be wrong.
I'd have to look it up again.
I think Let Me In is the American one, and then the original is Let the Right One In. Like
yeah. You're right, because they would say it properly over in the foreign. In America, that's where they fuck it up. Too many words. People can't read that much. We're not going to call it tarot cards. We're going to call it tarot. All right, my number 4, Without a Paddle.
Nice.
I love
such
that
a fun
movie.
one.
And it's just a fantastic movie all around. All right, what's your number 3, Paul?
Number 3 is going to be Grown Ups. because I love Adam Sandler and his friends, and that's totally me and my friends every year when we get together. I'm not gonna lie.
What I fucking tell you, Sturdy. I said he's gonna say that at least once.
You did, but not for that movie.
Not for those movies. I should have known. What were the two that I said?
You probably said Super Bad.
Yes, Super Bad,
and The Hangover.
The Hangover. I was like, it's gonna be one of these two movies, but Grown Ups just fits right in with that. Yep. I was like, it fits with everything, like all your nighttime swimming and your movies. I'm like, that's exactly what's gonna be said. And I said it too. I was like, that was me and my friends. I knew it. The only reason is you've shot an arrow in the air, haven't you?
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. All right.
Well, we were little pansies about those, so we shot it like this way and took off this way. It's not like we were like, haha, like we didn't want to die. I'm getting impaled.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God. All right, Sturdy, you're up. What do you got for me?
Stand by Me.
Stand by Me. Oh my God. That's a good one.
You know what's funny though, Mick, is because I almost used either Sleepers or Mystic River on this list. Honestly, I almost used both of them because they were really good movies. But I'm like, that's a little too.
It's a little dark, Sturdy.
but I mean,
friendship wise.
But I mean, because
he kills his childhood friend.
The way things turn, though. The way things turn.
It's a good one. It is.
But yeah, Stand by Me.
You know, see, I didn't go with Stand by Me. Just I often think like road trip. I never really think of like on your feet walking to a location like has to do with friendship movies. Mm-hmm. So my number 3 is The Fellowship of the Ring. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
Which is basically a prequel to Stand by Me. I think that's such a great movie. And just the fact is that nobody gives a shit about each other in the beginning, and then by the end, like they are like in it. Like we will die for each other. Like that. That's such a good one.
Oh man, I'll tell you guys, a movie that literally just came to my brain. I don't know why I didn't earlier, but The Sandlot.
That's a good one. Oh, you could change it out. You got 2 more.
The Sandlot No, I got 2 on here I want to keep though.
That's fair. That's fair. All right,
so I got 2 for number 2 because I knew you guys knew I would do Super Bad, so I put another one there as well. So I made sure to put down Goonies.
Reminds me of my friends. Nobody Goonies reminds you. You did not have that many friends with gadgets.
That's probably
he
true.
was in the circus, so you don't know.
That's also very true. Like Wish was just coming out online. They were buying shit every week.
All right, what's the other one? Super Bad and what?
Goonies. And the Goonies is my number 2 as well. That's just
Goonies isn't even on my list. It's like you guys don't even know friendship.
Are you kidding me?
No, that's a good one. That would be in my top 10, but I think my 5 fit really well. All right, my
5 are better.
My 2 is okay, fine, whatever. Brian's Song. Anybody who's seen Brian's Song knows exactly why. It's the story of Brian Piccolo and Gail Sayers. Brian Piccolo passed away from cancer, and Gail gave that tear-filled, the awesome Billy D. Williams as Gail Sayers gave that amazing tear-filled speech. Brian Piccolo is my friend. Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's a classic.
And I almost put down 50-50 on here, but then I was like, I'm not going to go sad with this.
Oh, God. Wait until you hear my number 1.
Wait till you hear my number 1.
What do you got?
It.
Yeah, I mean, a friendship kind of does that. You got none vetoed, so that's good.
Yes.
I'm not mad at that. That's cool.
Like Breakfast Club would have gotten vetoed. Any Fast and Furious movie would have gotten vetoed.
Well, I won't mention those. Why Breakfast Club?
Breakfast Club?
Just had to
because that's not a good friend movie. They will not. They were friends for that Saturday. They will not remain friends. Everybody will go.
But that's real life.
Yeah,
it's not a good. But that's not a good friend movie. No, they're not moving on. They just had to spend time together. That's it. They're not. It's not like they've changed each other's lives. They changed for like a weekend. They're all gonna go. They're not even all weekends. They all went home and were just back to normal.
Mm-hmm. How do we know this
experience? Because it is. Because that's what happens. It's a terrible friendship movie. I didn't say it was a bad movie. I said it was a terrible friendship movie. And I think everybody should agree. In fact, Pretty in Pink. Everyone should agree with me right now. Pretty in Pink is a better friendship movie than The Breakfast Club. Ducky?
No. St. Elmo's Fire is better than Pretty in Pink.
Oh my God! Well,
or 16 Candles. I'll give you at least 16
I won't argue that, but it still sucks.
That's true.
Oh, we got to get in the apartment before she gets colder. Oh no, it's Chicago. So she left all the windows open in a winter Chicago. I mean, that is dangerous, but still, like, whatever. Saying almost fire, was selling almost fire. It ended up in that apartment at the end. What's your number one, Sturdy?
I got two.
Uh-oh.
Remember the Titans.
Good movie.
And Friday.
Good fucking movie, dude.
Those are both good.
I'm gonna get you high. Come on. If any of my friends get fired on a day off, the first thing I'm doing is getting them high. The first thing I'm doing.
That's fair. Now I want to get laid off of work. Let me get fired real quick and I'll hit you up, Sturdy. It could be worse.
Nothing quite like getting kicked out of your own podcast.
I didn't touch anything.
Neither did I.
I touched nothing. No, I think it was the internet blipped. We had rain all freaking day.
I thought you did that because I swear I could be wrong. Chat, let me know. I could have sworn he moved a little bit, and I thought he was going to like kick one of us out, but he kicked us out. I was just sitting there laughing for a minute, just to let him get the laughs out, and then came back. But no,
I mixed myself in all of this. I love that though. All right, well, number one. That's a good number one. Those are two good ones. Friday's a great movie. But I had to go with mine, man. Wrath of Khan. Ooh.
Damn you!
Oh my God, man! I have always been and always shall be your friend. Oh God, and he dies.
Yeah.
Oh, when Kirk gives that speech at the end, when he's just like, "He of all of us, he was the most human." That classic overacting Shatner, but it was still beautiful.
That was super overacting. I hate Shatner in those movies.
Damn.
But
now that you brought up Shatner, fucking Mars Attacks should have made my list for friendship movies.
Yeah, Mars Attacks was a fun one. All right,
any of the Friday the 13th movies can fall under that umbrella. Really?
No. They're not gonna be friends for long in those movies.
That's just because they didn't survive. They're still friends. They're friends till the end.
I don't know about that, man. Chucky.
But the end already came.
Chucky and Andy's story is the best friendship story.
That's a very toxic relationship right there.
That is very.
That's a toxic friendship that started from. That's a toxic friendship that started from childhood. That's crazy.
Friends to the end.
Yeah.
I just realized none of us did animated movies. Like we didn't choose Toy Story or any of those good old.
I
thought about it, but I was like, because I could have used my favorite Disney movie. I could have used The Lion King. They'd be from friends to lovers. Then you got Pumbaa and Timon. Come on, what better friends than that?
That's true.
If I had The Lion King, that'd be my. If I had The Lion King, that'd be added to my number one list, though, or just one by itself.
No, I liked my list. I love Toy Story. I love a bunch of them, but like that, I like that. I liked my list the way it was.
Me too.
Yours two were dog shit, but mine was good.
Mine represents my real self.
A lot of white things going on there, Paul.
Yeah,
mine's way too bad.
I've seen Grown Ups.
Oh, I love Grown Ups. That's just so funny.
Oh, it is funny. Well, that's our five. That's our five friendship movies. But let's get into some reviews.
Yeah.
Exciting stuff. Now, I understand that we usually go with our favorites second, and that's no different here. So let's start with Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F. Well, I did really like this movie. I did really like it. So, and of course, it's Axel Foley back again in Beverly Hills Cop, this time to save his daughter, and he runs into a lot of old familiar faces and some plenty of new ones in this very action-fueled adventure on Netflix now.
Yes.
What did you think about Axel Foley coming back? 40 years.
I was super excited because, as you know, it was the first watch for me, all the Beverly Hills Cops over the last like 9 days. So I didn't have to wait that long for this one. So I thought this one paid great homage, and they had so many Easter eggs from the other movies. I love seeing pretty much all the original cast come back. Kevin Bacon is so great at playing like the sleazy cop or sleazy whoever, because he just turns into a prick. Like, I know he's a great guy, but I'm like, man, I fucking hate you. Like, he
really does play a prick well.
You got that charming smile, and it's like, I know you're a piece of shit. Like, I know you are, but you fuck your smile. I like the one-liners in here. I like the cheesiness. I was curious how they would bring 2024 remixes of their main theme song and remix it, and I really like the musical scores for this. Because all their movies they mix it up, and I appreciate that because it keeps, you know, you're always like, yeah, it's gonna be this. But I thought they did a great job. Eddie Murphy, if anything, I think I almost like Eddie Murphy getting older. I think he's kind of gotten more distinguished. I think his timing has gotten better and his deliverance of jokes and not having to be completely outrageous to make you laugh. So I kind of enjoyed older Axel than younger. But I would recommend this movie, especially if you watch the others, because I think if this is your style of movie and you did like them, this absolutely will be right up there with them.
Yeah, I mean, I started before we get to yours. I absolutely. The second one is one of my favorite movies of all time. I think it's the far superior. Tony Scott killed it in that one. I love it because it's more established. Like he's friends with Taggart and Bogomil and Rosewood and everybody. Like they're all just already cool. So when you get into it, it's like, all right. And that's what I felt about this movie. The third one still felt disjointed because you couldn't get Taggart back and Bogomil back.
Yeah.
So like, and I love Hector Elizondo, but that's a new character you have to introduce, and then all this other stuff. So like that's why I love the second one. The first one I love because it's gritty as hell and it's fun and he does a great job. And I agree with you. I love older Axel because for him to be 18 or 19 in the first one, and now just to be so much older and like time sort of passed him by a bit, but he's still Axel Foley. It was a great time. I just had such a fun time with this movie. But Sturdy, I want to know what you thought about this movie. I've been dying.
Honestly, I had a good time. I really did have a good time with it. My rating may confuse some, but also on this show, you do 0 to 5.
No, I do 1 through 5. I don't do 0.
Okay, not even just so 1 to 5. So like my ratings are a little different because I'm used to doing the way I do ratings everywhere else, which is from a -10 to a +10. But with that said, though, no, I did enjoy this one. The original is my favorite one by far. I just love it. Mainly because of I think it's because of the nostalgia. It's one of those movies. I think it was the first time I watched it was with my dad watching it, and just
nice.
It was back in those days, which I mean, Paul was still in diapers, but Mick, you remember when this movie the original would come on all the time, all the freaking time. The original, boop, 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 boop. But with this one, I got some of the nostalgia feeling from seeing all these guys older now, and just I don't know. I think the thing I didn't like about it a little bit was the typical dad missing for years, child is blank in this. Even if it's not in the same career, it's close to the career with the lawyer thing, and then what she was doing, how she was connected with it. That kind of gets boring to me at times because you see it so much. But overall, I still think it was good. And like I said, I had a good time with it. Way, way, way better than the last movie that he did. Not the last, the last sequel he did of one of his films.
Fair.
Way better. Like this one, I feel like they kind of did still stick with the story of it, the storyline of it. Like Axel Foley was still Axel Foley. I love how they brought up stuff from the past movies and stuff. And I'm not mad he has a daughter and all that. Like that. Not it. It's just the whole that cliche gets kind of boring after a while. It's my kid's into this, and then my kid's in trouble, and then my kid helps me, and then the connection at the end, which of course you're never mad about that because in real life you'd want that stuff to happen.
Yeah.
But again, it still gets kind of for me.
I get that. And to add to that too, there were a few things like I wish that was better explained. Like maybe the heart to heart was why did you leave? Why couldn't you just be a cop in Beverly Hills? And like almost like that. I'm a Detroit cop. That's who I am. Blah blah blah. And your mother didn't want to go with me, and because then you can play into. I didn't like that they completely cut out the third. I understand it sucks, but like it's still Axel Foley. There's still story lineage you could put there. And I thought rather than just making a throwaway joke, but like clearly the daughter wasn't around until after that movie. He had a love interest in that movie,
right?
Maybe at least be like, your mother was working out. Wally World or whatever it was,
right?
Wonder World or whatever it was. And I couldn't deal with Beverly Hills. I needed to go back and blah blah blah. Because then you can leave it up to a lot. Like that's a better explanation to me. Or what were you going to do? Like Jeffrey got shot. I needed to go back and be with him, or something like that. Like because he is so addicted to the job,
right?
I thought, and another thing that really bugs me is when he's getting arrested by he calls them the Lego police.
Yeah,
Lego he says, "I've been a cop for 30 years." the first movie came out 40 years ago and you were a detective. Can we at least agree to get the math right? Can we at least agree to be like, I've been a cop for 45 years, you know, or some shit like that, like 42 years or something like that, just so that way we can get it right. Come on, man. Like, I don't know why those little things in movies irk me, but they do.
I get that. The pepper spray bothered me. That's what fucked me up. I was like, there's no way you took that much pepper spray to your face and you're okay, able to talk, able to see, and then you dump water to get that shit off. I'm like, nah, dude, that takes milk and you'd be fucked up.
Yeah, it's tough.
Like, they put an obscene
used
amount.
Water when I got pepper sprayed. It wasn't a whole.
You're cracked.
That's all I had.
No, I mean, I get, you know, I guess in a panic, like, you grab, but like I said, I mean, he seemed fine. Like, he's like, you don't have to use that much. And
he was driving. That felt a little silly to me. Was that whole like portion of it? Like, that's what I liked about the first movie when they threw him out of the window,
right?
And like then he gets arrested. He's like, what the fuck? He's like, they threw me out the window. You know, like I would have liked, like, yeah, they were chasing him down, but like he got arrested for maybe running away on foot and fucking something up, you know. But like that whole, we just saw you chase down somebody in a snowplow, you know, and it was pretty epic. And now we're see you run away from a few guys in a meter maid like thing. Like, it's just that felt a little too silly comparatively to the other stuff.
Yeah,
that felt more number 3 than it did 1 or 2.
Yeah.
But listen, let's give our ratings for this one. And I know what you guys want to get to, but I really like this one. I love the fun movies that are coming out lately, especially the action stuff. I gave it a 3.5. Paul, you gave it a 3, right? And Sturdy gave it a 2.5. So
it's like singular bar going up. I like
that. So Sturdy, why the 2.5? You think it's just mid?
I think it's better. I think it's better than mid, but a little better than mid. But it's just, again, just with the certain things, the little cliches with that story, and then not really explain that storyline, just kind of, because they do it with a lot of movies. It's like, okay, he has a kid.
I get that. Love it. All right, let's go to our next movie for tonight, which I know you two are super excited to talk about, and I am as well. It is the final installment in Ty West's, I'm calling it the X trilogy, but they called it a slasher trilogy. They called it his retro trilogy. I've heard a few different ways of it put, but of course, this is about Maxxxine, and this is what it is. We're talking about Maxxxine tonight, and this one takes place in 1985, Los Angeles, Hollywood, California. Guys, let's get into it a little bit. What'd you guys like? What do you think? Let's talk about it.
Do you want to go first, Sturdy? Or do you want
No, go ahead, Paul. Go ahead.
Okay. So I actually love this one. I think this one, I if I had to rate them, I'd say Pearl is still number 1, Maxxine's number 2, and X would be number 3 in my mind. The set alone, like, I mean, they just fully submerged you in that whole 80s feel. It was so believable. I mean, I think the group that I was with, we all looked at each other a few times and were like movies get it pretty right in the settings for movies, but this one was just so believable. I thought they shot it on film, and then I was very surprised when I realized they shot this all digital, because of how well it looked. Like, it didn't look like a digital movie just with a filter over it, and it actually looked like it was shot on film. Maxxxine, I loved her character. I love the internal turmoil they show, especially when she's getting her face molded. I thought they did a great job showing that. Because anytime you can capture something like that where, you know, you're stuck by yourself and then you're in your own head and then you freak out, I was like, that's great. But I like that they complimented it by making her look badass by stomping that dude's nutsack in that was trying to take advantage of her. Because I was like, I like the comparison, because it's like, okay, yeah, you're going through some stuff, you're not okay, but also you're not that bitch. Like, you're gonna fuck someone up.
Dude, when she grabs her keys and puts them between her. Oh my god! This is a bad bit.
I loved her friend. I wish, if I had a gripe with this movie, I wish they had showed her movie store friend that didn't want to sleep with her a lot more, because I love that character. I thought he was cool. Movie store. I enjoyed Kevin Bacon. Once again, you know, Kevin Bacon kind of playing the sleazy Southern guy coming up, being the PI. I absolutely bought it. He was fun. I liked how he tried playing that he wasn't about money and this and that, and he was an atheist, and how quickly when they were destroying him in that compactor, he's like, I could be paid off, and he's praying. Scenes like that I just thought were epic. And then just to throw that icing on the cake when they had the fucking dogs come to eat his remains, I was like, this wasn't needed, but it was
Crazy.
absolutely appreciated just because it just made that scene more like, oh shit. I hope someone is smart enough to do a spinoff of her lawyer / agent, because that dude was badass when he was like, I'll go to jail for you. I was like, yeah, okay. You know, you hear that in movies all the time. Then it's like,
oh, then you see what he does.
Like, he'll kill someone for you. Like, no problem.
He's that's the type of age. He's about business. He'll protect you. That's the type of age.
Dude, Giancarlo Esposito played that role. It was so classic. He did a great job.
Amazing.
And then just as for the ending, the ending I'd say was the only thing that I feel like wasn't. There are multiple endings I think I would have enjoyed almost a little bit more. I don't think this one was wrong, and I'm not saying I could get it perfect, but how it could have played out, I think it might have been a little more tying everything together nicely instead of it just ending quite the way it did.
Yeah.
But I don't think you'll be left unfulfilled. I thought it was good. You know, Mia Goth gave her all. I think almost everybody gave their all in this. I like that they tied some of the Strangler in there. Or not the Strangler.
Night Stalker.
Thank you. The Night Stalker. I like how they tied him in, but he wasn't really a pivotal part of it.
Yeah.
And making it her dad and all that, I was like, fuck yeah. Like, I totally bought it. And it made those scenes make more sense because I'm sitting there, I'm like, why is the stalker like gripping that pole so hard when he's watching her dance? Like, what's going on and shit? Then it's like, oh, wait, no, that's her dad. Like, yeah, I bet if any dad was watching their daughter do something like that, especially being the person he is going to be like, no, absolutely.
Listen, man, I'm telling you right now, I'm tackling her off the damn stage.
But I'll shut about Maxxxine. But if you haven't seen it, you guys, I highly recommend it. If you like the others, this one does not fail. If anything, besides the one little part I said that I didn't really enjoy, I'd say I almost expected more X material, only because this one's Maxxxine with 3 X's. So I kind of expected more of a sexual nature of it as opposed to what we got.
I think that was more along the lines to play up like sort of the video nasty culture that he was going for in it. I dug it though. And Sturdy, I know how you feel because I've seen your rating. So I'm going to let you burst at the seams a little bit, and I'm going to give my rating for it because I'm not quite as high as you. But I want to say this to me, and James actually said it in the comments. I'll pull it up in a sec, but I do think that this is the weakest in the trilogy.
Ooh.
That doesn't make it weak though. It's got a rewatchability. I've already watched it twice now. So like it's got the rewatchability. It's a good horror movie, great characters. I really thought X was a really well done horror film with a cool twist. And Pearl, he made each one of those movies very distinct and they all had their beautiful nuances that made them a part of their time frame. But just the colors he used and the fact that he chose like a Wizard of Oz type of feel for the movie just blew me away. So Pearl is always going to remain my favorite. X, very, very good. Maxxxine, right up there too. Great trilogy. Again, I said this to Sturdy. I think that it would have been better if they came out in chronological order.
Right.
And because I said to Sturdy in X, when she finally does kill Pearl and run her over, I felt like if we had seen Pearl first, that would have made that so much more relieving because Maxxine's getting away, but heartbreaking because Pearl's dead.
Right.
Reversing it just didn't give me that same feel. So like it was just those things. I did really like Maxxxine. My biggest issue with it was it made sense that it was the dad, but I wish they set it up better. It's almost like they had the movie like Final Exam or if not Final Exam, what is it? Night School with the biker and the leather-clad biker who's just out there, or like Pieces or something like that. Like it felt like you have this character and cool who it turned out to be, but like we only ever got snippets in X of her father,
right?
And we didn't even know it was her dad until the very end. So we like by the time you get here, it's like this is overkill. Like you have a whole cult, and it's like what the hell is happening here? Like I don't know. There's just something that it felt flat for me.
Okay.
Like I wish they had beefed that up a little bit, the connection, but it's just me. But Sturdy, what do you think, buddy?
Well, this one I loved. I love this freaking trilogy. I was so happy to see this movie. Actually, what I did, I went to go see it Friday, and I actually watched Pearl, then X, and then later on, me and the wife went to go see this. And we were, as a matter of fact, we were supposed to go see this earlier Friday, but I was like, she was asking me like how, I was talking to her and she's like, so we're still going at such and such a time. I was like, actually, can we go at the second time because I'm still watching Pearl. I forgot how long the movies were. I don't mean that in a bad way. I was like, I'm gonna watch X next, so we ended up doing that. But I'm glad I did watch Pearl, then X, then this, just because the way they kind of tie together so well. And watching it like that and going back, now I agree with you, man. Now I do agree with you because I did watch them like that, like the chronology, the way that, yeah. And it felt better, and it made you, because with Pearl to X, it makes you understand Pearl's character a hell of a lot more. A hell of a lot more, because I'm gonna get to Maxxxine, but with Pearl, it's like you see how she is. She just wants to be, besides being a star, she wants to be her, and her mother kind of like doesn't let her be her. And then in X, she's old, and she sees these kids, especially Maxxxine, because she focuses on Maxxxine during that scene in the barn. And I forgot, don't they show a flashback of that in Maxxxine too, don't they? Where she's like looking back.
But they also, just to emphasize your point here, is like, also keep in mind there with Maxxxine, everyone is saying like she has something.
Yeah.
So I attributed that to why Pearl was so attached to her, because she had that thing that she always wanted.
Yes. Which, I mean, from Pearl to Maxxxine, you kind of see the differences between the two characters. Even though, which shout out to Mia Goth, because she does an amazing job playing two different characters in X, but then just in this whole trilogy, because you're playing two different characters that are very similar in ways, very, very similar. One has it and also has like that confidence. They both got the killer instinct, though. They both have that down.
Yeah. But think about it too, though. Pearl, just a killer. Maxxxine is not out to kill anyone. She's straight up defending herself, but she's willing to go that far.
Well, and that's what I mean by that. Like, she's like, all right, I need to go that far. And then Paul, the heel stomp, that was just like,
oh my god, makes him deep throat that gun. Oh my god.
But to also think about it, she was on the run from the start, right? From her dad. So like she left home. So that's sort of on the run. She was a runaway. And then after that, like that was in what, 78, 79. So like for 6 years, she has legit just been on the run, setting on, like having, making a name for herself and stuff. But like, so by the time you get to this one, like I loved, like she looked beautiful. Don't get me wrong. She's a beautiful woman. But like they did add makeup where her eyes looked a little more tired than they did in X. But again, that's why I think that, and I never say this because I'm always like, start as late as you can. But like, I really think it would have benefited from like seeing Pearl, then into X, and then into Maxxxine. That would have driven it. And I wish I had watched it beforehand that way.
Right.
Because by the time you get to Maxxxine, like you said, coming off of Pearl, you're sad because Pearl's dead because you love her from the first movie. But you're also glad Maxxxine survived. And now where's this going? But I also wish like it didn't tie into anything. Pearl was the killer in the first in Pearl. Pearl was the killer in X. Maxxxine, and she's her dad. It's like there was just something. I'm not saying it had to be connected, but like it was so like the first two movies were very connected, and it felt like this one just that wasn't as much. And I think that's
I could see that.
I wonder if he does extend the footage, because T West was saying that he had like 45 minutes of extra footage that he had to cut out of this, but he was editing. So I wonder if that would have actually elaborated on some of that, because I know he said it came down to the length of the movie, of course, and this, that, and other, but he had to choose what to cut out, and he's like, it always sucks to cut anything, but I wonder if that's what it's going to be. And I also know he said he's going to make a fourth one based on how good this one does, so I'm kind of curious what this fourth one may end up being, if he's going to keep the Maxxxine going or if he's going to start a whole different one.
Kind of have to at this point. It'd be kind of cool if she, like, if they get to it, it's where she's even more aged, like she's in her 40s now or something. It's the 90s, her stars sort of fading,
just a repeat.
She turns into sort of the killer. Something like that. That could be kind of cool. But he's a smart guy, and he'll come up with, like, again, he made 3 great movies here. I hope he doesn't make a fourth one of this. I hope he just starts on another trilogy somehow. I don't care if you get everybody back from all these movies to be in it. Whatever, be like a Rob Zombie, but just tell me a whole new story, because I really do like the Maxxxine story through this.
Yes.
And I do like that it ended with her having the same smile that Pearl had at the end, but actually there.
Yeah. She's
actually made it. She's in the movie. They're all clapping for her, and she's just got the same worried smile. It was really well done how they did it. All right. I do want to mention one thing, the Bates Motel.
Yes. Oh,
remember?
Fuck yeah.
Remember, this whole movie was filled beautifully with like sweet little Easter eggs for horror fans.
Bates Motel.
Oh my god! But remember, I was telling you about Halloween Horror Nights when we came up and we came to the Bates Motel. I think in the past. That was it. That was where we were walking.
Okay.
I don't remember that big wall on the left. Like it looks like, I don't know if they had built a new studio or it was just nighttime and I didn't see it because there were some trees there. And we were going towards the Bates Motel. It wasn't like I was looking to see what that was.
Awesome.
But like it's just like that, man. But like it's very cool. I just had to point that out. Like it was just very cool to see that again. And it's just, it really was cool for him to incorporate the house, so many fun things in this whole thing. This was a really well done, like, this is how you do an 80s throwback horror movie.
Yeah,
agreed.
You know, it's its own story. There's horror to it. There's a lot of like callbacks to the 80s that we love in our movies, but it's not so in your face,
right?
You know, I like this. I thought they did a great job. But
did you notice Pearl was up there? Speaking of that house, that's why I didn't bring up Bates Motel. I was trying to not tell anyone.
Older Pearl was up there. Yeah.
Like quick flash, I was like,
she looked in the window.
Yeah, just like
even then when they said it was like about an older woman who goes crazy and you know, who would ever believe that? And like she's just kind of like looking.
Yep. I was like, fuck yeah.
So well done. And the two cops in it, Bobby Cavanaugh, like he was a little too much at times. I'm like, dude, you're a real prick, man. I hated his on one hand.
His narration, I was like, just make him fucking silent. Like I'm so tired of him saying the same 4 things in different ways, and he's just pissing me off. And that's not on him, you know. I mean, I get it was in the script, and I mean, we weren't supposed to like him, but I definitely was like, shut the fuck up, man.
Let me pull up our ratings. Very different. Drops off very quickly. Sturdy was all about that 5.
Damn right,
yeah, Sturdy.
I just love the movie, love the trilogy, love the storytelling in it. I know it's not perfect, but
that's awesome. I love it.
This is the best horror movie I've seen this year in theaters. Like, finally, I can say I left. I'm not gonna say I didn't leave the theater happy at all, because I leave the theater happy every single time. But with the movie, this is one that I can say I'm 100%. I was 100%. You know.
This one pegged the 80s just as well as Late Night with the Devil pegged the 70s.
Yes,
I think personally, and I'm just comparing it to movies this year. But this actually pegged the 80s better than some of the 80s horror movies I remember. Actual movies that we're trying to pander. All right, that's our ratings for Maxxxine. That's right. Sturdy gives it a 5. Paul gives it a 3.5, and I gave it a 3.5. And we're gonna start closing out. But of course, I have to give you my mixed movie pick from 1988, and it is one of my all-time personal favorites. And I urge anyone who hasn't seen this movie to go and check it out. It is the 1988 film Cinema Paradiso. Is an Italian film about a filmmaker who recalls his life growing up in Italy in a poor town. It was pre-war, and then it goes as he grows up. The World War II happens, but it's a filmmaker calling back to his time where he befriended a projectionist at a movie theater and how he fell in love with movies and just kind of how they helped shape his life all the way through. I saw this movie for okay. So here's a funny story about me. I always wanted to be a filmmaker since I saw Jurassic Park, right? I've said that. And I was making videos, and my best friend Lenny at the time, we were always making videos together and doing fun stuff because he wanted to be a filmmaker too. Well, he went to college when we graduated high school. Me, not so much. But he went to college and he took film studies and stuff like that. And he would let me come and audit the classes with them. And I remember one of the first classes in his film theory class, they were going to watch this movie and they were going to talk about it. And I by that point, I'd never really watched a foreign film before. I was like, nah, I just don't want to read subtitles. I just don't, they're just not for me. This is the movie that I watched it. I fell so in love with it. I never turn back from foreign films or that type of bullshit way of thinking. If I could tell that story and it reaches anyone to see this movie, I will be so happy because it is absolutely one of my absolute favorites and in my top 10 of all time. So check out Cinema Paradiso, a movie I could talk about a lot from 1988. It is available. And also go check out, of course, our Patreon. And you get our weekly newsletter, links, movie reviews, tons more. So go ahead. And remember, tomorrow night, come check us out at 7 p.m. It'll be Get Geeks Live. I will be live. And you pick the topics in the comments and we'll talk about it. But you can follow our Patreon right there, and that's where everything will be. But I want to say thank you to my awesome buddies here who came and joined in. Sir Sturdy from Horror with Sir Sturdy Podcast and Popcorn and Pints. Please tell us more and tell us what you got going on this week.
So, Horror with Sir Sturdy, doing Backpacking with Sir Sturdy, which is only watching and reviewing 4 movies, and also ordering food from that region, not the exact region. Like I can't afford that, guys. So locally, ordering the foods, and there's some that I have. Like there's gonna be some that I haven't tried, and I can't wait just because it's going back to our talk earlier about the whole culture and all that. It's opening up to different foods and movies of other cultures, and this is gonna be a yearly what month are we in? July and August. Every July and August, we're backpacking somewhere.
I love it.
And then on Sturdo Vision, be there at midnight. Just be there at midnight, the 13th, 12 a.m. Just be there. That's all I'm going to say. Just be there.
Oh, God, that's going to be amazing.
And then at 9 o'clock, Popcorn and Pints. We're reviewing Freaky Friday and some other movie. Matter of fact, nope. The Haunted Mansion. Boom. Eddie Murphy's coming back in our lives.
Heck yeah.
You're going to want to see that at 9 o'clock Eastern Time this Saturday. So that's where you can find Sturdy. You're going to want to see more of Sturdy, so just go there.
Love it. Paul, anything you want to add before we get going?
You guys, it's a hot week all across the board, so make sure to stay hydrated. Drink the night before. I had some employees kind of fall out today because they started drinking water when they got to work. It's too late, you guys. Like, heat stroke's a real thing, so hydrate the night before. Keep watching, keep listening, and keep loving the magic of movies.
That's right. And I want to say thank you all. We appreciate you following, supporting us, subscribing to us. Help us get to 5,000. That is our trek right now. We're trying to get to 5,000 subscribers, and make sure that you are following us down on the Patreon. Again, you can become a member of the Discord if you are. Hang out, get some free perks. But if you want to sign up and do the paid perks and help us out, support the channel, we appreciate that too. Thank you so much. And thank you to our sponsor, Shopify. Guys, if you want to start your e-commerce business, now's no better time. And Shopify will help you all the way through. So go check out the link below and you will get $1. You'll get a free trial and $1 on your first month. All right, guys. But I am Mick Manhattan from the Scene Snobs, joined with, as always, by producer Paul and Sir Sturdy joining in for the fold. We're going to be back next week, so make sure you're joining in, having a good time with us. But until then, remember, everybody, be kind, stay classy, and take care of yourselves, because that's very important. Until next time, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.